Disgusted. Absolutely disgusted, man. The WNBA players, the WNBPA, all of these people involved, man, they have literally done everything they can to kill off the league, to kill off the Caitlin Clark hype, to kill off the Caitlin Clark fandom, to push her fans away because of their jealousy, their ego. They're mad that this didn't happen because of them. All of this stuff, all the things they claimed they wanted, they did not care about sabotaging it because they were not the reason for these things.
The WNBA just pulled off the impossible. They killed their own golden goose. Caitlin Clark filled arenas, drove record-breaking revenue, and brought mainstream attention to the league like never before. Yet now, teams won't even book NBA venues for her games. From 9 marquee matchups last season to just 4 this year, the league seems to have sabotaged its own success, driven by jealousy or short-sighted decisions. The consequences are hitting hard and fans are noticing. Can the WNBA recover after alienating its brightest star and her passionate fan base? Or is the damage already done?
So now they don't care. They've sabotaged the entire product. They've turned people off. They've turned business off. They've pushed business away to the point where now Caitlin Clark games are not being added to as many NBA arenas. This is sad for the business. This is money lost. You guys want more money. This is money.
Absolutely disgusting. There's no other way to describe what the WNBA and its players accomplished. They had everything handed to them on a silver platter, sold-out arenas, national media coverage, mainstream attention, corporate sponsors lining up, all because of one player. And what did they do? They systematically destroyed it through jealousy, pettiness, and ego. Now, we're watching the consequences play out in real time. Honestly, they deserve every bit of the regret coming their way. The numbers tell the brutal story. Last season, 9 of Indiana Fever's road games were moved to larger NBA arenas. This season, just 4. That's a 55% drop. Teams that once scrambled to host Caitlin Clark, knowing it meant sold-out crowds and massive revenue, are now backing off. The Chicago Sky, Dallas Wings, Washington Mystics, Connecticut Sun, and Atlanta Dream all moved games last year, but most aren't doing it this year. The WNBA didn't just miss an opportunity, they burned the golden bridge.
Appreciate it. As we continue to chug along in this WNBA offseason, the gift that keeps on giving. We have to get into this article here, man. This is sad. It's actually embarrassing that they have let jealousy and all these other things ruin such a great thing. This is on Front Office Sports. Here it says, teams move. Fewer Fever visits after Caitlin Clark's injury riddle.
Here's what makes this truly infuriating. This isn't happening because interest in Caitlin Clark disappeared. Last season, the Fever still averaged 15,884 fans at road games, 4,000 more than any other team. Every single game that got moved to a larger NBA arena sold out. The demand was real, measurable, undeniable. So why aren't teams booking NBA arenas anymore? Because they can't trust Caitlin will be healthy enough to play. And whose fault is that? The same players and coaches who spent her first season treating her like a tackling dummy. She endured relentless physical abuse, not basketball, but assault, with referees watching. Caitlin got flagrantly fouled more than any player in league history. Not because she plays reckless, but because she was targeted, and the officials let it happen.
Injury-riddled season. Indiana had 9 road games moved to larger arenas last year, but just 4 so far for 2026. Now, her injury-riddled season. Why was she hurt? Because in her rookie season, y'all beat the hell out of her. Y'all beat the crap out of her to the point where she went and felt the need to bulk up and look like The Rock going out there. If you smell wow, what the Clark is cooking. She had to go put on muscle like The Rock and all of this stuff.
Kathy Angelbert sat in her office and watched the league's biggest star get systematically targeted. She watched referees ignore blatant fouls, dangerous plays, and outright attacks, and she did nothing. The officials couldn't referee a middle school game, let alone a professional league. Prison ball brutality became the standard whenever Caitlin touched the court. Hip checks, clotheslines, undercut jump shots, The whistles stayed silent. So what did Caitlyn do? She bulked up. She added significant muscle mass just to survive on the court because the league refused to protect her. And what was the cost? Injuries. Her body wasn't built to carry that extra muscle under such extreme intensity. The groin injury that ended her season came in July, cutting her season short to just 13 games.
And we know the schedule came out the other day. Of course, there's still not a CBA deal in place. So there's that in all of this, and I would keep this in mind. But we've got the sports media proclaiming that the other WNBA teams have basically decided that the Caitlin Clark effect is over. That it's a wrap. That no longer do WNBA fans want to fill NBA arenas.
Kathy Angelbert sat in her office and watched the league's biggest star get systematically destroyed, and she did nothing. Hip checks, clotheslines, undercut jump shots, the whistles stayed silent. Caitlyn had no choice but to bulk up, adding significant muscle just to survive on the court. And the cost? Injuries. Her body wasn't designed to carry that extra mass under such intensity. The groin injury that ended her season came in July. She played just 13 games. Teams had already booked big arenas assuming she'd be healthy. The Chicago Sky moved games to the United Center. When Caitlyn was injured or not on the schedule, the place had empty seats. Organizations lost money because they couldn't guarantee their investment, and that's directly because the league allowed her to be physically destroyed. Now teams are hesitant. The Atlanta Dream, for example, still play in a tiny 4,300-seat arena. They're not moving to a bigger venue because they don't want to risk it. And here's the deeper problem nobody wants to talk about. The players and union actively pushed fans away. Jealousy, hostility, constant downplaying of Caitlyn's impact, it all turned people off. Fans came ready to support the league, came for Caitlyn, and were willing to embrace other players. Instead, they got physical attacks on the player they came to see, constant complaints from other players, and officials ignoring the abuse. The media followed suit. ESPN barely mentions the WNBA anymore. Fox Sports moved on. Analysts who covered women's basketball last season? Silent. Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, Jason Whitlock, they moved on. Even Monica McNutt, who built her platform on WNBA coverage, has gone quiet. The mainstream attention evaporated, not because of the quality of play, but because the product became unwatchable. Fans tuned in to watch basketball and instead watched officials ignore fouls, players target Caitlyn, and the league refused to act. Absolutely disgusting. The WNBA had a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and they blew it. Caitlin Clark brought sold-out arenas, record revenue, mainstream media attention, and corporate sponsors. She was the league's golden goose, the tide that lifted all boats. And what did the league do? They let jealousy, ego, and incompetence destroy their own success. Last season, teams scrambled to move games to larger NBA arenas because Caitlyn was the draw. The Chicago Sky booked the United Center twice. When she played, sold out. When she didn't, because of injury, empty seats. Fans showed up for one player, and when she wasn't available, they stayed home. That's the harsh reality the WNBA refuses to accept. Caitlyn isn't just a draw, she's the draw. The numbers don't lie. Last year, 9 Fever road games moved to bigger venues. This year, just 4, despite the schedule listing 19 total moves. Most of the increase is due to the expansion Toronto tempo, not actual demand. Teams are hesitant, waiting to see if Caitlyn stays healthy before committing to expensive arenas. That hesitation didn't exist last season when teams couldn't move games fast enough. Now, the trust is gone. Why? Because the league allowed her to be physically destroyed. Referees ignored blatant fouls, hip checks, clotheslines, and undercut jump shots. Kathy Angelbert watched it happen and did nothing. Caitlyn was targeted relentlessly, forced to bulk up just to survive, and still ended up injured, playing only 13 games last season. The fallout is brutal. Teams won't book big arenas months in advance. Fans stopped tuning in because they saw abuse ignored and hostility toward the league's biggest star. Media coverage evaporated. ESPN, Fox Sports, and even analysts who championed women's basketball last season? Silent. The mainstream attention Caitlyn brought? Gone. And it gets worse. The WNBA Players Association actively pushed fans away, downplaying Caitlyn's impact, creating jealousy and resentment. The result? Self-inflicted disaster. Teams that once had guaranteed sellouts now face financial risk. Sponsors are reassessing. Viewership has plummeted. Yet here's the kicker. Caitlyn Clark could still sell out arenas today. The demand is still real. But the goodwill, the momentum, the trust? Gone. All because a league of grown adults couldn't handle one player being more popular than everyone else. They'd rather sink the entire ship than share the spotlight. Congratulations, WNBA. You played yourselves. You destroyed your golden goose through jealousy, incompetence, and ego, and now you're paying the price. Fewer games, less revenue, diminished interest, all self-inflicted. If you're tired of leagues sabotaging themselves, smash that like button, subscribe for more unfiltered truth, and drop a comment telling me which team regrets their decisions first.